Have you ever wondered why some people seem blessed with abundance, while others struggle their entire lives? What if I told you that the creator of the universe actually wants you to prosper? That financial struggle is not some divine test of character, but rather a misunderstanding of spiritual principles that have been hidden from you. Napoleon Hill, after interviewing over 500 of the world's most successful people, discovered something shocking: a spiritual connection to wealth that many religious institutions deliberately avoid teaching. This isn't about greed or materialism. This is about understanding the divine principles of abundance that have been kept from you. The same principles that have created millionaires and billionaires throughout history are available to you right now. Imagine for a moment what your life would look like if money was no longer a source of stress and limitation, but instead flowed to you naturally and abundantly. Imagine being able to give generously, travel freely, and create the impact you've always dreamed of. This isn't fantasy. It's the birthright that has been denied to you through generations of misinterpretation and misinformation about the spiritual nature of wealth. The truth is, there's a reason you were drawn to this video today. It wasn't coincidence or random algorithm. There's a part of you that already knows what I'm about to share is true. You've sensed it in moments of inspiration, in those fleeting thoughts where you glimpsed your own unlimited potential. Napoleon Hill tapped into something profound when he conducted his 20-year study of success, something that transcends religious doctrine and speaks to the very nature of human potential and divine favor. Before I reveal these powerful secrets that Hill uncovered, make sure you hit that subscribe button and notification bell right now. This channel is dedicated to bringing you the hidden truths about wealth and prosperity that others don't want you to know. And trust me, after hearing what I'm about to share, your perspective on money and spirituality will never be the same again. This is the information that changed my life and the lives of thousands of others who discovered it. Each week, I release new videos that build upon these principles, giving you practical strategies to implement them in your daily life. Napoleon Hill didn't start out searching for spiritual truths. In fact, when Andrew Carnegie commissioned him to study the world's most successful people, Hill was simply looking for practical principles of achievement. But as he interviewed one successful person after another, a pattern began to emerge. Almost all of them attributed their wealth to some form of spiritual connection. They didn't just work hard, they aligned themselves with what Hill later called infinite intelligence. And here's what's fascinating. Regardless of their religious background, they all described similar experiences of tapping into a universal source of wisdom and abundance. Hill was skeptical at first. As a journalist and researcher, he was looking for tangible strategies, not mystical concepts. But the evidence became overwhelming. The wealthiest, most successful people consistently reported that their greatest ideas, the ones that created their fortunes, came to them through inspiration rather than logical thinking. They described moments of insight that seemed to come from beyond themselves, often during periods of quiet contemplation or even in dreams. Hill couldn't ignore this pattern, especially when he observed it across hundreds of interviews with people who had no connection to each other. What began to emerge from Hill's research was a framework for understanding the spiritual dimensions of wealth creation. He discovered that there were specific conditions that allowed people to access this infinite intelligence more consistently. One of the most important was having what he called a definite major purpose, a clearly defined goal pursued with passion and persistence. When someone committed themselves completely to a worthy goal, they seemed to activate a spiritual mechanism that brought them the resources, people, and opportunities needed to achieve it. It was as if the universe itself conspired to help them. This wasn't just positive thinking or wishful imagination. It was a practical process that produced measurable results in the material world. Hill documented case after case of seemingly miraculous coincidences and fortuitous meetings that occurred when people applied these principles. What if poverty isn't holy? What if struggle isn't noble? What if the entire narrative you've been taught about money being the root of all evil has been misinterpreted? Hill discovered that many religious teachings about wealth had been deliberately distorted over centuries. The actual biblical quote isn't "money is the root of all evil," but The love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. There's a profound difference. When you examine the lives of biblical figures like Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, David, and Solomon, they were all extraordinarily wealthy. Why would these divine favorites be blessed with abundance if poverty was somehow more spiritual? In fact, the Bible contains over 2,000 verses about money and possessions, more than it contains about heaven and hell combined. Could it be that our understanding of the spiritual nature of wealth has been fundamentally flawed? Hill began to realize that many religious institutions had a vested interest in keeping their followers dependent and financially limited. After all, a congregation that believes poverty is godly is less likely to question leadership or demand accountability. This wasn't true of all religious teachings, of course, but Hill noted that the most disempowering interpretations often came from institutions that benefited from keeping their followers in a state of lack and dependency. As Hill dug deeper into both ancient wisdom and modern success stories, he uncovered something even more revolutionary: the link between gratitude, generosity, and financial abundance. The most successful people he studied weren't driven by greed or selfishness. They were genuinely grateful for what they had and genuinely generous with their resources. But here's the key insight: their generosity wasn't motivated by obligation or guilt. It flowed naturally from a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. They understood that money, like energy, needs to circulate to increase. When they gave, with a joyful heart, expecting nothing in return, they activated a spiritual law that caused wealth to flow back to them multiplied. This wasn't some mystical reward system. It was a practical demonstration of how energy works in the universe. When you give freely, you signal to your subconscious mind that you have more than enough, and this belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Hill's research revealed something even more startling. Many of the world's most successful people practiced specific mental techniques to connect with what he called infinite intelligence, the universal mind that contains all knowledge and abundance. They understood that thought is energy, and that this energy could be directed and amplified through specific practices. One of these practices was what Hill called definite major purpose, the crystal-clear articulation of exactly what you want to achieve. Not vague wishes, but specific goals with deadlines. This precision acts as a beacon to the universal intelligence, aligning opportunities and resources with your desires. Another technique was the daily practice of gratitude. Not just feeling thankful, but actively expressing appreciation for the blessings already present in their lives. This gratitude practice wasn't just about feeling good. It was about creating a vibrational frequency that attracted more circumstances to be grateful for. The wealthy understood that appreciation literally causes appreciation, an increase in value in all areas of life. Perhaps most controversially, Hill discovered that the wealthiest people had overcome the guilt and shame around money that many religious traditions had instilled in their followers. They understood that money itself was neither good nor evil. It was simply a tool that amplified whoever wielded it. In the hands of someone with a generous heart and noble intentions, wealth became a force for tremendous good in the world. They rejected the false dichotomy between spirituality and prosperity, understanding that true abundance included both material well-being and spiritual fulfillment. They didn't compartmentalize their lives into sacred and secular domains. They brought their spiritual principles into their business dealings and their material success into their spiritual practice. This integrated approach allowed them to create wealth without compromising their values and to use that wealth in service of their highest ideals. But I need to ask you something important. Are you still with me? If you're feeling a spark of recognition right now, if something deep inside you is saying this makes sense, then you're exactly who needs to hear the rest of this message. Keep watching, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal the specific technique Napoleon Hill discovered that allows anyone to tap into this unlimited source of wealth and abundance. This isn't theory. It's a practical approach that has created more millionaires than perhaps any other teaching in history. And before you dismiss this as some get-rich-quick scheme, understand that Hill's work has stood the test of time for nearly a century. His book, Think and Grow Rich, has sold over 100 million copies worldwide and continues to influence business leaders, entrepreneurs, and success coaches to this day. There's a reason his work has endured, while thousands of other self-help books have come and gone. He tapped into timeless principles that work regardless of economic conditions, technological changes, or cultural shifts. The most extraordinary discovery in Hill's research was what he called the 10th principle, the power of the mastermind. He found that when two or more people come together in a spirit of perfect harmony for a specific purpose, they create a third mind, an invisible intelligence greater than the sum of the individual minds. This mastermind principle explains why the most successful people throughout history rarely achieved greatness in isolation. They surrounded themselves with carefully selected individuals who complemented their skills and shared their vision. Jesus himself demonstrated this principle when he gathered 12 disciples around him. Even the Son of God chose not to work alone, but created a mastermind alliance to accomplish his mission. This wasn't coincidence. It was a demonstration of a universal principle that applies to all forms of achievement, including financial prosperity. When you combine multiple minds focused on the same goal, you create a powerful connection to infinite intelligence that accelerates the manifestation process. The secret lies in what Hill called the mastermind principle. He discovered that when two or more minds come together in perfect harmony for a specific purpose, they create a third, invisible force, a mastermind. This force magnifies the mental abilities of each individual and creates a direct channel to infinite intelligence. Think about that for a moment. The most successful people in history weren't operating alone. They were tapping into a power greater than themselves through strategic relationships. Jesus himself said, "Where two or three gather in my name, there am I with them." Hill realized this principle extended beyond religion into the practical realm of wealth creation. He observed that virtually every great fortune began with a mastermind, alliance of some kind. The mastermind works because it combines different perspectives, experiences, and talents while amplifying the spiritual connection of each individual member. When you're part of a true mastermind, not just a networking group but a circle of people dedicated to supporting each other's highest good, you gain access to insights and opportunities that would never be available to you operating alone. Hill's extensive interviews also revealed another critical factor in wealth creation: the power of faith combined with action. The most successful people maintained an unwavering faith in their ability to achieve their goals, even in the face of temporary failure or setbacks. This wasn't blind optimism or magical thinking. It was a disciplined faith based on understanding universal principles. They knew that failure was not a terminal event, but a necessary part of the learning process. When faced with obstacles, they didn't question their ultimate success. They simply adjusted their approach and kept moving forward. This persistence, fueled by unshakable faith, allowed them to continue when others would have given up. And here's the crucial insight: their faith wasn't passive. They didn't just sit around visualizing success and waiting for it to appear. They took consistent, inspired action in the direction of their dreams, trusting that the next step would be revealed as they moved forward. Another powerful principle Hill discovered was the role of specialized knowledge in creating wealth. The most successful people weren't necessarily the most intelligent in a general sense, but they had acquired specific knowledge and skills that were valuable in the marketplace. More importantly, they knew how to access knowledge they didn't personally possess through their mastermind connections and their ability to tap into infinite intelligence. This is why Hill emphasized that formal education isn't necessary for financial success. What matters is the ability to access and apply specific knowledge when needed. Many of the wealthiest people he studied had little formal education but had developed the capacity to learn quickly and apply knowledge effectively. This should be tremendously encouraging if you've ever felt limited by your educational background or believed that wealth was only for those with advanced degrees or specialized training. The truth is that specialized knowledge is available to anyone willing to seek it out. Here's where it gets even more fascinating. Hill discovered that wealth is not just about money. It begins as a state of mind. The rich think differently. They understand that wealth starts with gratitude for what you already have. This gratitude creates a resonance that attracts more abundance. Think about it. How can universal intelligence bring you more if you're not appreciative of what you already possess? This is why Hill emphasized that you must give to receive. It's not about empty charity, it's about creating a circulation of abundance energy. When you genuinely give without expectation, you activate the law of increase. This isn't just spiritual talk. It's practical psychology backed by countless success stories. The wealthiest people Hill studied had developed the habit of giving generously from whatever resources they currently possessed. They didn't wait until they were rich to become generous. They understood that generosity itself was a pathway to wealth, and they gave not just money, but time, attention, appreciation, and recognition to others. This expansive mindset created a psychological and spiritual foundation for increasing prosperity. Another crucial element Hill identified was the power of controlled attention. The most successful people had developed the ability to focus their mental energy on a single goal or idea for extended periods. In today's distracted world, this capacity is even rarer and more valuable. When you can direct your thoughts consistently toward what you want, rather than what you fear or what you lack, you begin to activate the creative powers of your subconscious mind. Hill found that this focused attention, maintained over time, was like a mental magnet that attracted the people, resources, and opportunities needed to transform desires into physical reality. One practice he recommended was spending at least 15 minutes each day in quiet contemplation of your definite major purpose, visualizing it as already accomplished and feeling the emotions of gratitude and fulfillment. This daily practice programs your subconscious mind and aligns your energy with what you're trying to create. It's not daydreaming or fantasy. It's a disciplined mental exercise that literally rewires your brain over time. The reason most people remain stuck in financial struggle isn't because they lack intelligence or opportunity. It's because they haven't aligned their thoughts and actions with the laws of abundance. Hill discovered that the universe operates according to precise laws, just like gravity or electricity. You don't need to believe in gravity for it to work. It operates regardless of your belief. The same is true for these spiritual laws of prosperity. And here's something crucial to understand. If you're still watching at this point, it means you're ready for this knowledge. Not everyone is. Many people are comfortable in their limiting beliefs about money and spirituality. But you're different. You sense there's more to this story. You're willing to consider that perhaps the traditional teachings about wealth and spirituality haven't given you the complete picture. This openness is the first step toward transformation. The fact that you've stayed with me this far indicates that you're one of the rare individuals who's willing to question conventional wisdom and explore new possibilities. Now let me share something that might surprise you. Hill discovered that desire itself is a spiritual force, not just wanting something, but having a burning desire so intense that you can almost taste it. This kind of desire isn't selfish or materialistic. It's the creative force of the universe expressing itself through your unique talents and abilities. When you desire something that allows you to become more fully yourself and to serve others at the highest level, you're aligning with divine intention. The most successful people had cultivated this burning desire through constant thought, planning, and expectation of achievement. They didn't just want success, they were consumed by their vision and purpose. This passionate desire activated spiritual forces that ordinary wishing or mild interest simply couldn't access. And contrary to what many religious teachings might suggest, this intense desire for achievement and prosperity wasn't seen as sinful or worldly by the Creator. In fact, Hill concluded that this burning desire was actually a divine gift, the very spark of the Creator's nature implanted within human consciousness. The most powerful technique Hill discovered was the daily practice of what he called definiteness of purpose, combined with auto-suggestion. Every morning and evening, successful people would enter a relaxed, meditative state and visualize their desired outcome as if it had already happened. They would feel the emotions of achievement and express gratitude for their success before It materialized in physical form. This practice literally rewires your subconscious mind and aligns your energy with what you desire. When you master this technique, which I teach step by step in my free training, you'll begin to notice coincidences and opportunities appearing in your life. This isn't magical thinking. It's working with spiritual laws that have always existed. What makes this technique so powerful is that it bypasses the critical faculty of the conscious mind and plants suggestions directly into the subconscious, where beliefs are formed and maintained. Your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is actually experienced. So these visualizations have the power to transform your beliefs at the deepest level. And since your beliefs determine your actions, and your actions determine your results, this practice initiates a positive chain reaction that can completely transform your financial reality. Now it's time for you to make a decision. If what I've shared resonates with you, if you're ready to align yourself with the spiritual laws of abundance that Napoleon Hill discovered, then take action today. Visit the link in the description to access my free masterclass on implementing these principles in your life. You'll learn the exact morning routine used by the world's most successful people to program their minds for wealth. You'll discover how to create your own mastermind alliance, even if you don't know any successful people right now. And most importantly, you'll learn how to reconcile your spiritual beliefs with your desire for abundance. This knowledge has transformed thousands of lives, and it can transform yours too. Remember, God wants you rich, not just for your own benefit, but so you can be a greater blessing to others. The only question is, are you ready to receive? Don't let doubt or fear hold you back from claiming the prosperity that is your divine birthright. Click the link now and take the first step toward the abundant life you were created to live. Your future self will thank you for the decision you make in this moment. This isn't just another opportunity, it's an invitation to transform your relationship with money and spirituality forever.